Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Design Review Board meeting of April 11th, 2024. The DRB meeting is now called to order. Please refrain from talking among yourselves during the meeting, and please turn off or put on vibrate all cell phones at this time. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. Current DRB agendas and staff reports are available by visiting our website at www.glendaleca.gov. Records of decisions for all projects will be posted online on the Planning Division's website. A handout describing the procedures of the meeting, possible board decisions, and DRB appeal is available from staff. Please note that any appeal of a case heard today must be filed within 15 calendar days of the DRB decision date. Meetings are also archived on the city website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. Roll call. Board Member Kaskanian.
Present.
Board Member Chagaying is absent. Board Member Welch.
Present.
Board Member Simonian is not here yet. And Madam Chair Lockruff.
Present.
Reports regarding posting of agenda. The agenda for April 11th, 2024, regular meeting of the Glendale Design Review Board was posted on the city's website on April 4th, 2024, and on the bulletin board outside City Hall on April 8th, 2024. Approval of minutes. Approval of minutes for Design Review Board minutes of February 22nd, 2024. We'll
We'll postpone that due
Postpone
to lack
that
of quorum here for
to the
that.
next Design Review Board meeting. And minutes for March 14th, 2024.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Thank you.
And a second by Board Member Welch. And just for the record, for our staff, we started the meeting at 5:00 p.m.
Yep.
Okay. Oral communication. I don't have any. Discussion is limited to items not part of this agenda. I don't have any cards.
We don't have any comments.
Okay.
Okay.
Board member comments?
No comments.
No comments? I have no staff comments either. We do not have any old business. We will start with new business, but before we do, we have the first case noted as 1329 Thompson Avenue. That item, DRB case number 001293-2023. That item will be continued to May 9th, 2024.
Correct.
Okay. So we will move on to our first case, which is 1329. I'm sorry, take that back. It's 1433 Mildine Drive, DRB case number 002471-2023. Is our first item, and
Okay.
our planner, Columba Diaz, is the case planner assigned to this case, so.
We have one board member that is close to being here. Should we take a quick recess while we wait for them, or I don't know what protocol is for that.
We can take a quick recess, or we can start,
Start and you can join.
and the board member can join us,
Wanted to
and we will announce
confirm.
at the time when the board member joins us.
Perfect, thank you. Then proceed.
Good evening, board members. Good evening, members of the public. Thank you. Project 1433 Mildine Drive. The project site is a 6,860 square foot rectangular shaped interior lot with frontage on the north side of Mildine Drive in the R1 zone, floor area District 2 in the Spar Heights neighborhood. Originally developed in 1941, the site features a one-story, 1,330 square foot single-family residence with a detached two-car garage, a swimming pool and spa at the rear of the property. The surrounding neighborhood features mainly one-story houses with a few two-story houses in the immediate area, including a property on the south side of Mildine Drive. This is the proposed site plan for the project. To the left side is the existing site plan, and on the right side is the project as the applicant is proposing to add a 720 square foot second story to the house, highlighted in red, and a 253 square foot addition to the first floor area at the rear, highlighted in purple. Overall, the site planning remains relatively the same, with an expanded building footprint to the rear.
So for the record, Board Member Art Simonian has arrived. It's a 5:06 PM. Thank you.
These are the proposed floor plans for the project. The second-story addition to the left consists of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The addition on the first floor is a new family room and the interior staircase. This slide comprises of the existing and proposed floor plans for the project. The new second story will feature a hipped roof designed with a 7-to-12 roof pitch, matching the existing gable roof pitch. The existing one-story house has a gabled roof design with a 7-to-12 roof pitch. The addition proposes a hip roof design with this new second story with a matching roof pitch. While different from the existing roof design, the hip roof form is appropriate as it minimizes the visual impact of the larger building. The new windows are appropriately placed, and the operations are consistent with the architectural style. The addition will feature black composition roof shingles, sand finished stucco, and louvered shutters that are consistent with the existing house. New sconces are proposed on the first floor in the area of the addition in the rear. The design and placement are appropriate to the overall design and concept. Overall, the mass and scale of the 2-story project are appropriate to the design and neighborhood context. The new second-story addition is appropriately integrated into the existing residence's minimal traditional architectural style, with the second floor set back from the first floor along the street frontage and between the adjacent properties, minimizing the visual impact and the added massing. The overall height of the house will be 26 feet 11 inches, where a 28-foot is the maximum height permitted for a house with a pitched roof. Overall, the use of materials and colors throughout the addition are consistent with the existing minimal traditional style of the house. As it relates to public comment, the staff has received 1 written comment on April 5th in support of the projects situated directly across the street from the property. The comment letter has been provided to you for your consideration, and copies are kept on file with the planning department. The staff is recommending approval for the project with 3 conditions related to recommendations identified in the Urban Forestry Division's comments dated December 11th, 2023. Recommendations identified in the Public Works Traffic Engineering Division comments dated March 11th, 2024. And that the vertical and horizontal window section details be provided for each window operation that identifies the placement of the nail-in flange to achieve the recessed as well as external grids. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Do we have any questions? Okay. Board Member Welsh.
Thank you, Ms. Diaz. In the letter that was submitted, it referenced a project across the street that
Yes.
had been not finished. And I saw that when I did a site visit as well, and was curious, what is the situation with that? Do we know?
Unfortunately, I was informed that it was just perhaps a lack of maintenance from the owner or upkeep. Unfortunately, he has since passed away. So the son actually called in and said that he would be taking charge and they would continue the project and finish up the house.
Good, okay, thank you.
Does the board have additional questions? Okay, great, thank you very much. Then we'll open this up for public comment. Can I please have the owner, Ben Pock, come to the, and state your name?
Hello, my name is Ben Pock. I live at 1433 Millline Drive. I had a long statement, but Columba pretty much summed it up really well. I could just say that house was built in 1941, originally for my wife's grandmother, who was the original owner, and my wife and I were lucky enough to purchase it about 16 years ago. So it's been the family for like 80 years now. So yeah, we have every intention on staying there, and that's the purpose of the addition, is just to provide the space needed for our growing family. Everything else, Glenba hit it right on the head. So any questions or suggestions, I'm here for.
Do we have any questions? Okay.
I just want to confirm, it looks like from the plans and the renderings that the windows that you're putting on that second floor, particularly the ones facing the street there, are basically the exact same as, or as close as possible to the existing windows on the ground floor?
Yes, per previous preliminary design review, we're going to replace the 4 existing windows on the front facade, or upgrade them.
Okay.
And yes, the second floor will match, and shutters to match as well.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Does the board have additional questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Glenba.
Okay, and may I please have Daniel Washburn come to the microphone? Thank you, and state your name. And
Hi, my name is Daniel Washburn. I'm a resident at 1427 Milldine Drive, so I would be the western neighbor of Ben Pock. And just here to say that we encourage the project. We think it'll be a positive impact to the street and the neighborhood. Bless you. And just that our recommendation is to approve it. So if you have any questions, that's really all I'm here for.
thank you.
Thank you.
And do we have any callers?
No callers.
No callers. Then we'll open it up for deliberation. And would you like to start?
Would you like to
or
close
who
the
would like-
public portion of the hearing, Madam Chair?
Yes, definitely. Let's close the public portion of the hearing. And how
Sure.
about
Start.
Chair? Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. Well, that's really awesome that the house has been in your family for such a long time. So really cool to see you all make that remodeling as well. Overall, I do like what you all are doing with the house, the neighborhood as well. I think it's gonna make it look really good. So I will vote to approve this.
Board Member Walsh?
I concur. I think the project as designed is very nicely done. I recognize that the hip roof is a different roof style than is there, but I think that it, as the staff has pointed out, it will actually help minimize the impact of that second story, because it is predominantly a one-story street. So I think the way you've done it with having that setback from the street, having the hip roof, I think will make it blend much more easily, and really it will almost look like it was always that way, which I think was your intent, and it conveys that in the design. So I will also be voting to approve the project. So.
Great, thank you. Board Member-
Thank you, Madam Chair. I concur. It's great that it's been in your family for so long, and we could tell you've spent a lot of time designing a project to fit into the neighborhood and for it to be compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, which we appreciate. So I have no comments. I think staff's 3 conditions are spot on, and I also support this project.
I completely agree. I think it fits in well with the neighborhood. It integrates well with the existing home. And I agree with your comments regarding the hip roof. At first, I was thinking it doesn't match stylistically, but really it does help diminish the scale in a nice way. So, yeah, I definitely would approve this with the 3 conditions of urban forestry's comments, public works comments, and the window details requested by staff. So would anyone like to make a motion?
So with that, I'll move for approval with conditions, the 3 conditions that was laid out in the staff report.
I'll second.
Okay, that was a motion by Board Member Welch, to approve with the 3 conditions outlined in the staff report, and that was a second by Board Member Kaskanian. Board Member Welch?
Yes.
Board Member Kaskanian?
Yes.
Board Member Simonian?
Yes.
Madam Chair Lockruff?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Congratulations.
The next item is at 1349 Thompson Avenue, and we'll wait for the case planner, Cassandra Pruitt.
Good evening, Chair, board members, and members of the public. I'm Cassandra Pruitt. I'll be presenting the project for 1349 Thompson Avenue. The project, and this project is to demolish an existing one-story house and build a new two-story house. And the project originally came to you on March 9 in 2023. And it was, I'm sorry, one moment. Sorry for that interruption. The project was presented to you on March 9, 2023, and it was returned for redesign, and it has now been redesigned and resubmitted. And so I will pull up the PowerPoint and do a presentation. There it is. The project site is located in West Glendale on Thompson Avenue between West Kenneth Road and Bel Air Drive. And the site is located in the R1-1 zone, which is the low-density residential zone floor area ratio District 1, which allows 30% floor area ratio. And the site is relatively flat, although it does slope down slightly toward the southwest. The project involves, as I mentioned, demolishing the existing one-story house, which is 1,434 square feet, and it has a detached garage built in 1923. The existing house is not considered a historic resource under the California Environmental Quality Act, and no protected indigenous trees are proposed to be removed or affected. Therefore, the project is exempt from CEQA. The first project submitted for DRB review featured a 2,305 square foot two-story house with a detached garage accessed through the rear alley. The DRB decision for the original project was returned for redesign to address 15 different comments, mostly addressing the prevailing setback, massing being aligned with the topography, and massing and design details to reduce the apparent size of the house and increase design consistency. The resubmitted project is essentially the same in terms of the site layout and the building design, with modifications to address the DRB's return for redesign comments. A few square feet of floor area were removed to accommodate the changes. In terms of site planning, the proposed building footprint complies with the minimum street front and interior setback standards, although it extends just slightly beyond the prevailing setback. A condition of approval is recommended to address this, consistent with the DRB record of decision that was issued. At that meeting, the DRB required the second floor to be brought behind the prevailing setback. The existing house on the lot features a driveway. The existing house on the lot features a driveway from Thompson Avenue to the detached garage at the rear, whereas the new project features the house extending the full width of the lot with the garage accessed through the alley. Although the other houses on the street don't span the full width of the lot, the garages are located at the rear, and the subject project has been designed to reduce the apparent massing of the project. The floor plans are essentially the same as the last proposal, but they're flipped on the vertical axis to result in the second-story portion aligning with the upslope of the topography, which was per the DRB's recommendations. In terms of the mass and scale, the second story is significantly stepped back from the first floor front facade, ranging from approximately 5 feet at the right front facade to approximately 26 feet at the left front facade, as viewed on this slide. The part of the house with less massing on the second story is aligned to the adjacent smaller house and the slightly downslope part of the site to better align with the massing of adjacent houses. Strong horizontal elements such as roofing and siding help offset the mass and height of the house. The DRB record of decision issued in the last meeting recommended increasing stepping on the west facade, which is now the east facade since the floor plan was flipped. An increase in stepping does not appear to have been accomplished, as demonstrated by the essentially identical floor plans and elevations. A condition of approval is recommended to address this. These are the floor plans that show the identical layout that doesn't change the outline of the building from the first floor to the second floor, which would show stepping. The design and detailing feature a consistent contemporary style with an appropriate variation in materials and solid void relationships, and an entryway providing an appropriate focal point. Overall, the window placement is appropriate. The building features a variety of exterior finish materials, including stucco, composite wood cladding, metal railing, a wood door or wood doors, aluminum windows, composite wood trim, and asphalt shingle roofing. Siding wraps the corners appropriately, although it's not clear on the east and west facade that the siding terminates at a logical endpoint rather than on a corner, so a condition of approval is recommended to address this. Barrel-shaped sconce lighting is proposed as shown on the material board. The staff report outlines how each of the 15 conditions of approval from the last DRB meeting were addressed. I've mentioned them a few of them so far in this presentation, namely the first, third, and seventh conditions, and I'll go through the remaining ones here. Condition 2 asked for the height of the one-story volume to be reduced and the windows to be redesigned to reflect the change. So on this part of the building, the ridgeline was reduced by 2.5 feet, and the top second row of windows was removed. Condition 4 asked for the second-story balcony to be removed and replaced with a roof area spanning the building width, which has been done, as you can see here on the slide. Condition 5 asked for the stone cladding corners on the original design to be made consistent across the facade. However, the applicant has chosen to change the material from stone to wood, and they've applied that consistently across the facade. I mentioned previously about the siding, it not being clear that it wraps the corner, so these are the elevations where that siding ends. And there's a proposed condition of approval to just clarify on the plans that it actually does wrap those corners. Condition 6 asks to revise the window design at the first floor bedroom to provide greater consistency, perhaps by incorporating a 3-part casement window, and that's what the applicant did, as you can see here. Condition 8 and 9 asked to emphasize the horizontality instead of verticality. As you can see in the revised design, it demonstrates clear horizontality in the massing and design detailing, with a cream stucco banding at the base of the first and second floor, and then wood siding spanning the width of the floors above. Condition 10 asked for more window openings to be added to the east facade. As you can see here, several windows were added. Condition 11 asked for the balcony railing to be consistent with the style of the house. It was changed from glass railing to metal guardrail. Condition 12 asked to use an earth-toned color scheme rather than black and white, and that has been changed to a brown and cream. Condition 13 asked to use stone cladding or similar on the perimeter block walls to match the cladding used on the house. Since the stone was removed and replaced with wood, the applicant hasn't proposed a change of material on the walls, and staff requests the board to comment on whether that's acceptable. Oh, actually, Condition 14 asked for a lighting plan. The applicant added this information to the plan and shows the proposed lighting fixture, which is a barrel-shaped sconce light shown on this slide. And condition 15 asked for trim to be made of a material that contrasts with the stucco, such as wood, which is what the applicant is now proposing. As a note, no public comments, letters, or calls were received by staff for the project. So based on the analysis in the staff report and as summarized during this presentation, the staff recommendation is to approve the project with the conditions summarized on this slide, namely to ensure the front facade at the second floor is behind the prevailing setback, to incorporate more facade stepping on the second story on the east elevation at both the front and side facades, and to clarify on the plans that the siding on the east and west elevations wrap the corners and end at an inside corner. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for that comparison too between the two. Does the board have any questions for staff? Board Member Walsh?
How far ahead of that prevailing setback is that second story on the current plans? Is it just a few inches? Is it several feet?
It looks like it's a matter of inches,
A matter of inches, okay.
probably less than a foot.
Okay.
Is the applicant here?
Well, he can opine when he
I know that
gets it.
we were looking at whether we wanted to verify the field conditions to make sure that the
Yes.
site plan was showing the building conditions. Oh. Sorry, I'm muted.
It's on now. Thanks.
The applicant was verifying whether the site plan was accurately representing the field conditions to make sure that that was shown, and we were working on that till the last minute. But it appears to be slightly off, and we were just verifying that, and they intend to address that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And in your comment on number 2 there, facade stepping, can you explain exactly what you're trying to, what your goal there is?
Okay, so the board had asked, I'll go back to, the board had asked to increase stepping along, I'm trying to see if I can find a 3D that shows. I think it's this, this side here, if I'm not mistaken. The board had asked to increase stepping and so this is the back. So at the front and the side here, that's what the condition had said, was to increase stepping at both the front and the side on that elevation. So
And-
I just looked at the prior proposal and the new one, and that hadn't changed.
Mirror, though, of the last one, so I just want to make sure that we're actually talking about the same facade, because now it would be the opposite side, right?
Right. Right. So it switched from one side to the other,
Right.
but it's still the same. What they had on that side before has been moved to the other side, and it's identical to what it was before.
Okay. So, but which one were we talking about? In the before one, it would not be that side, it would be the other side, correct?
Let me get back to that slide. Okay, so. I think it's best reflected here. So this was the side that was, so this is the floor plan before. This is the first floor,
Okay,
and this is the second floor. It's kind of cut off, but it's just to show the first floor had this shape, and the second floor had this shape, which is identical, so there's no stepping. And then on the new plan, it's been flipped. You see now it's the other way.
Right,
It's
yeah.
the exact same thing.
Okay,
And I think that it corresponds to, I think it's this, because it has, actually, that doesn't look right. Now I see what you're saying, because it has, it's this side here.
that side there on
Yeah.
this version of the
So,
plan, yes.
yeah, exactly. So it doesn't step back. It just, the wall goes straight up here and straight up here. It does have this little area going in here, but there's no stepping. So I
Okay.
think that's what that was.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Okay, great. And then, yeah, I guess that closes this. And, or does the applicant, I guess I'll open the public portion of, did you submit a speaker card? Are you going to speak? Or? Oh, okay. For staff or for, okay, yeah, that'd be great if you, yes.
We'll need a speaker card when you're done. You can get it at the front table.
Yeah, hi, my name is Arsen Ajemian. I was part of the design team. So as you mentioned, we were working till the last moment on this, and we actually have a set that does show the siding wrapping around,
Okay.
right? And offsets on the sides. We did not have offset between first and second, but we also have a set showing, because of the interior constraints, we pushed it maybe matter of inches, like 6 inches to 1 foot in all directions, actually on both sides,
Okay.
right? Not just this side, but the other side as well, right?
And was that set digital? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we have that.
Okay.
We have that.
Okay.
I don't know, you probably have it. It probably didn't make it in the presentation because it was last moment, maybe like a week ago or something. And regarding the offset, the prevailing setback, that distance is 3 inches. And then we went and verified again with since lack of survey, right? So we took the sidewalk to be the property line. We verified with inches, and it was like we're 3 inches off.
Okay, thank you. Do we have additional questions? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Looking at the overall facades, there's some wood, well, I believe is wood banding that goes across, like those brown elements that go across the stucco. What material is that?
It would probably be like polymer styled as wood.
So it's supposed to mimic the siding material?
It's supposed to mimic the wood.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think because it's exterior, regular wood would deteriorate quite fast, right, being exposed.
Plus fire hazards and stuff, you would need to have a cementitious siding, so probably some sort of a hardy, James Hardy
but the
product?
idea to really mimic,
mimic the
not the
wood.
plastic thing, but to mimic the wood.
Understood, so it's got a green to it.
Artificial wood, if you want to call it
And,
that.
and on the north facade where there is the trellis, kind of this area.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a stucco, is that a stucco band with some sort of this, trim?
It would probably
around-
be a piece of the trim. that goes
Understood.
around.
And as far as the corners of the building, where you have the siding meeting the siding, do you have horizontal trim at the corners?
Like a vertical piece?
Correct. Is that what you envision, or are you envisioning like butt joints where the trim kind of comes around the
I
corner and
think
gets
because-
mitered at the corner?
I think we would have a vertical element because it continues all the way
Okay.
down.
All right.
Not just where the siding is, but also,
And in regards to staff comment of offsetting the east facade to create articulation, I guess that would affect your bedroom in that corner, in that area. Have you thought about that to see how that would affect the overall plan, et cetera?
yeah, I think we would have to completely redesign it. So right now, we pushed it maybe 6, we didn't do offset between first and second, we just made that indentation slightly wider and slightly deeper, matter of like less than a foot probably in each direction on both sides, right? But we feel because this is really not visible from the street, it wouldn't make a big difference on appearance.
Okay. I have no other questions. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Does the rest of the board have any questions? Okay, no other questions at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And I'd like to call Ozzy Luke, please. And please state your name.
Hi, my name is Osa Luke. I live on 1325 Thompson, and actually I thought I was going to be here to talk about the house next to me, but there's two houses on my street that's going to build two-story, and I'm not happy about it. The street is turning into a commercial zone. Houses are turning into rentals. People are doing ADUs. There's no parking. There's no privacy anymore with these two-story houses and windows looking into people's yard. Already at this point, my kitchen window is closed all the time because my neighbors are looking straight in. I just loved the first presentation of the house. I thought that blended in with the neighborhood. I don't think this house blends in with the neighborhood. This is the two-story, two houses where they're building 2 stories on the whole side of that street. There's no other houses that's 2 stories. Would like to keep it as just one. I understand people can't live in an old house that's falling apart, but why does everything has to be 2-story high? That's just all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Do we have any callers? No? Okay. Great. Then we'll close the public portion of the meeting and move on to deliberation. Board Member Welsh, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate, the neighbor's perspective here. It's certainly when I look at a neighborhood that is predominantly 1 story, I'm very careful about how I evaluate a project and whether it is being done sensitively. In this case, obviously, we had already returned the project for redesign once, basically because of those issues, because it presented as a very vertical structure, which was not in keeping with trying to blend it into the neighborhood. Whereas I think the revised design does a better job. I think that's the horizontality that has been expressed here in the design, I think is a much more successful solution. I think the setback, and removing that front balcony has definitely improved that. It's minimized that. I do think that we need to try and make sure that at the very least that 2nd story is behind the prevailing setback. I don't know, maybe it's just a few inches, but, I'm sure that it's not going to be a big onerous issue to do that, because while legally you can go much closer to the street than the current setback, every other house on the street is behind that prevailing setback. So that's what we mean by trying to blend it into the neighborhood, to make sure that at least, that new element that is above and beyond what is existing there is being respectful of what is the current prevailing conditions. So I still support that. As regards the condition for adding more setback on that 1 facade, I'm not as sure that it's really necessary any longer. I think that the design generally works okay, and I'm not sure that, especially with the change of materials and how you're doing it, and, creating more of that wood look, the more natural colors. I'm actually would be fine without that condition unless other people feel otherwise. But the other 2 conditions I do support, but I think that one about the increasing the deviation for the east facade, I'm not sure that that's necessary. So generally speaking, I think that the applicant and the architect have definitely taken our perspective and our comments into consideration and really addressed them largely as we had asked. So in that situation, I'm perfectly happy to move forward because they did what we asked. So from that perspective, I'll be supporting the project, at least with those 2 conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Simonian?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I also agree in that the overall design is a positive improvement. I think it's gone a long way, and it is working quite well in regards to its mass and bulk, stepping back, etc. Also, the overall language of the windows seems to be much more coherent, at least to the naked eye, as far as just looking at it. You could at least see a rhyme and rhythm to it, where before it had much more of a vertical feel to it. But besides that, it didn't have as much of a consistent window design to it, or language to it. So the design certainly is stepped in the right direction as far as mass and bulk, et cetera. As far as the details are concerned, I think it could be slightly improved upon. It seems to be just a tad busy with some of these horizontal bands, coupled with the stucco. I think that could be simplified just a bit, which would end up with much more of a cohesive design language. More specifically, when we're looking at the front facade, we have, for example, stucco as the base, which is fine, and then there's a wood trim at the bottom of the stucco, which is not in line with the true spirit of the design language, right? If you're putting a stone base or a stucco base, leave it as a stone base, because wood doesn't do well next to the ground, right? It rots away. So those are, same with cementitious siding. If you put it down there, it's not going to look good overall. And so those are the kind of finite changes I would suggest, or at least what's put forth in the front facade, to eliminate the horizontal siding band at the bottom and let the stucco just be the base. Similarly, on the, and I'm just picking on the front facade just because it's going to be the most visible, right? On the second floor, or even before we get to the second floor, above the window line, we have a trim that acts as kind of a header piece, and then stucco again beyond it. Again, could be simplified, where just take the siding all the way up, and it's small building, not too much going on. So if you just continue the siding up, it'll be easier to build, less construction details to worry about, and cleaner. And similarly, on the second floor, you have a stucco base, which is in line with what's happening below, but then all of a sudden there's this horizontal trim that's going across it, which is going to be very difficult to get right on the construction site. But besides that, it's just a weird, non-true, I guess, to it, the spirit of the design element. So I would suggest cleaning that up. The vertical trim at the corners that you suggested is great. It's going to be a really nice way to terminate any kind of materials as they come together. Stucco, siding, they come together. You could have a vertical trim at the corner, a little thicker. It'll help with your waterproofing, and the horizontal siding will terminate next to it, and the stucco will come in on the other side. You could have a nice metal edge to it as well if you desire on the stucco side. So I think those were some of the comments as well, and that could easily transfer itself onto the west side and also the east side. The east side, has multiple bands going across, which are causing that kind of busyness. And so besides that, though, I think it's certainly come in the right direction. We appreciate you taking the time and efforts to make an effort to work through these conditions as from the previous hearing. So those would what I would add as well, besides eliminating the one condition and maintaining staff's other conditions is those recommendations or conditions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Board Member Cascone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for coming out, also for making your comments as well. It's very, like the board member said, it's very important for us to hear from the community as well. But yeah, I think that you all have done a great job with where it was and where it's at now, in regards to like the bulkiness and where it was like a horizontal in the beginning. So I think that you guys definitely did a good job. I do concur with board member Simone's comments in regards to the trimming. But overall, I think that you all did a great job with it, and I will support the project. Thank you.
I concur with the rest of the board. I think that we had a number of conditions, and you really addressed them quite well. And I think flipping it and reducing the size of the house a little bit, and even the way the upper portion is set back so significantly, it helps a lot. I went by the site and saw the story poles, and it really aligns nicely with the neighbors. I think it's going to look great. And in fact, the neighbor's home has quite a steep roof, so it's actually not that out of scale with the neighbor. Even though it's not a two-story house, it's close in height. And especially with that setback, it helps. So yeah, I concur with moving forward with this, and also I agree with the minimizing the bandings. I know that you were trying to address our request for horizontality, but I think just not removing all of them, but I think just the ones not needed, the excess ones. And I also concur with Board Member Welsh that one side no longer really seems to need that additional setback. I would love to hear the other board members, if everyone seems to be in agreement, so that one condition could be removed. I do think that we still need to match that prevailing setback as we've mentioned. I'd say the other item, you had brought up materials. I would just say there might be condition to show staff the material specifications for the wood.
I think it'll get ironed out during plan check, because I don't think they could put the wood siding, but we could help them along, so it goes by smoother.
Okay, right. And I agree with, wrapping around the corner that you mentioned. And let's see if there are any, overall, I think the design's more consistent now and horizontal. And would anyone like to make a motion?
We didn't address one of the comments that staff had brought about the block walls, the surfacing of those, and I don't know whether they're just planning to do block walls or a split face or something like that. So I think that maybe we should specify if we have preferences on this. Because she didn't put a condition in there, but she did ask us about it.
I assume it's regular block walls at the moment, not split face?
I think one of the comments last time was to provide.
Can he speak up in the mic, please? If you'd like
Would the
to
applicant please
ask
come
him to come
forward?
back for
Yes.
clarification, then you'll reopen
Okay.
the public portion and then ask the question.
Okay, reopen the public portion, please, and we'll ask the question more formally.
Yeah, so originally we had said to put a stone veneer on the walls, but now you're not using that same stone veneer. So the question really is how are you going to be treating the surface of the wall? Is it just going to be plain block, or are you intending to use a split face type of block?
Right now, since we're not using the stone veneer in the house, we were still thinking to put some type of stone veneer, not leave it as a plain block.
Okay, so
Plus, if you
it'll
have
have
a-
some kind of a finish on it, basically.
Correct, yeah. If
Okay.
you have a preference, we'd
Okay,
happy to hear.
great, thank you.
Okay.
Which walls are these? I'm
These are
sorry.
the property line walls.
Right.
Don't-
And
So they would have stone veneer on one side, but not on the other side?
Probably.
Yeah, because that's a neighbor's side.
it would-
I frankly would be okay with split face
or stucco.
or even
Actually,
stucco.
That's what I was thinking.
Right,
yeah.
it's stucco,
'Cause-
but,
Because that would match the house.
correct, but I think to spend the money to put veneer on the perimeter walls
I agree.
would be quite expensive. And so, split face is, there's a lot of good-looking split face blocks, but in addition, stucco might be something to do as well, because you already have your trades out there doing the stucco, so they could cover it.
Right.
But those would be my recommendations. I don't feel as though stone veneer is required.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so either.
but it's a good clarification, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, and I agree, I think a split face would be perfectly fine. I don't think you need to go through having a stucco, especially because he won't really be able to stucco the backside of those walls, so.
And I say, and you're welcome to have a seat too, and we'll close the public portion again, just more officially. Okay.
So maybe block wall unless the board feels strongly about the stucco, which I could be persuaded, but.
I'd say either split, for me, I'd be fine with either, a split face or stucco. And so, but perhaps a condition just saying to show the material to the planner, to Cassandra. Would be But it doesn't need to be stone. I think actually it's better not being stone, now that the materials have been changed.
Especially since we don't know
Right.
what the stone looks like.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So,
would
Ms.
any-
Pruitt, do you want to do a read back of this, where we have consensus on this to make sure we're all aligned?
Yes, and also I'm hoping to get clarification on the one added condition that Mr. Simonian talked about. So we would keep the condition to make sure that the second story is behind the prevailing setback. We would not have the condition about the increasing the step back on the side.
Correct.
We would have the condition to make sure that the siding wraps the corner. We would have a condition that the walls, the perimeter block wall, should be faced with stucco or split face.
Correct.
And then I'm hoping to get clarification on the condition that Mr. Simonian suggested and the others agreed with. Regarding the band at the bottom, and I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you were saying about the banding. I just want to be clear on that so we can put it in there.
For instance, can you show, there's a 3D view of the northeast elevation, for instance? It might help to see that.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I think that in particular, you can really see just the number of bands that aren't
Okay.
really needed.
Okay.
I think where there are transition between materials, it makes sense, but, yeah, I think just.
Maybe the bandings that are on the windows.
Yeah, the header of the
levels, you know,
window.
the header
That makes
footers of the
sense.
windows, I think may be okay, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's right. The ones at the ground level and that additional one in between.
Yes.
Probably not
So
necessary.
not the one at the bottom,
Not the one
not
in the
this
mid-
one?
No, that one's okay.
This one's
I
okay,
think
but
the
not this one?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, unless you have a different perspective on it, so.
No, overall, just simplification of the band design, more specifically eliminate the one on the ground level, touching the grade, and all the other ones that are unnecessary. They should really be used between materials.
Right.
Okay. Was that a sufficient readback, or do you need me to summarize it again? The fifth one would be to reduce the banding so that it's only at the transitions of materials, specifically remove the one at the ground and the one between the window header and the wood above.
No, I mean, that's sufficient for me, and would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the project with the stated conditions.
Second.
Great.
That's a motion by Board Member Simonian, and that was a second by Board Member Welch. Roll call for approval with condition. Board Member Simonian,
Yes?
Board Member Welch,
Yes.
Board Member Kaskanian,
Yes.
Madam Chair Lockruff.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do not have any departmental updates. Board have any?
Move to adjourn.
No, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn at 5:54.
Thank you.
Thank you.